All right, folks, we are live. It is Saturday, just past noon Central Standard Time, and this is the weekly Arbitrage Q&A with Eric Abbey. So just to be clear up front, I'm not Seth Kniep. Seth has graciously allowed me to use his channel to do these Arbitrage Q&As. My name is Eric Abbey. I've been doing arbitrage for almost 5 years. By God's grace, have seen good success selling on Amazon, have been able to add margin to my budget directly as a result of doing just arbitrage. And I have a special guest with me today, Allan Urizar. You can see him on the screen. He is known as the Arbitrage Ninja. He's a staff member with Just One Dime. He has seen great success doing arbitrage. And so we want to come to you today and say hello, and we want to welcome you to ask all the questions that you've got. We're going to discuss arbitrage. Allan, why don't you go ahead and say hello to our folk?
Hello, everybody. We're happy to be here. We were having a few technical difficulties, but we're happy that we were able to get everything ready, and we're live. We're streaming live, so it's awesome.
Yeah, so please send us your questions. We want to hear from you. We want to talk specifically about arbitrage. And I'm hoping that I can figure out how to see your questions. And as we kind of just work through some new software, we are excited to continue to do these weekly calls. So for a while now, on every Saturday, right at lunchtime, you can sit down with your burger or your turkey wrap or whatever it is that you like to have for lunch, and you can participate. Yeah, there you go, apples. I didn't get a lunch today, so I'll probably grab mine in an hour or so. But this is a chance for you to be thinking about arbitrage. And if you're brand new to even the concept of arbitrage, I like to just give a quick primer. All you're doing in the world of arbitrage is you're taking a resource or an asset that you can find in one market at a low price, and then you're turning around and leveraging a better market where you can sell that asset at a higher price. And arbitrage has been around as long as people have been on the earth, and they have been able to leverage one market where they can get silk at an abundance at a low price, and then maybe they travel a long distance, but now because of that travel, they're in a new market where they can sell that same commodity at a higher price, and thereby they gain a profit. And people have been able to do that by selling items all the time. What is really cool in the day and age in which we live is I can be up in northern Vermont, which is where I call home. And because of the Amazon marketplace and because of the online world we live in, I can take advantage of the internet, and I can take advantage of Amazon FBA. And in a matter of a week or two, I can sell that item that I bought in northern Vermont to nearly anyone in the world, certainly anyone in the United States, anyone in North America. And so we live in a day where arbitrage has unprecedented opportunity, and you can do all kinds of things with arbitrage. So Allan, why don't you take a minute? I'm going to see if I can find the comments in the chat. Why don't you just take a minute and share a little bit about what has been so attractive for you about arbitrage, both why you started in the first place and why you continue to abuse yourself by doing it every day.
Sure, and what I was gonna mention this. I was doing another webinar with David Lopez for Just One Dime Español, and he was sharing the statistics about online shopping in the U.S. and he was mentioning that online for retail sales, online it's only about 12% of the total sales in the U.S. So if you can imagine. 11% of the sales in Amazon in 2018 did over $230 billion in sales. Can you imagine when the online sales are 50% or even higher than that? The market, the possibilities and the opportunities is so great that we're just getting in. And out of that 12%, about 50% is generated through Amazon. So Amazon has a big piece of that market, and it's only a little small percentage. It's 10-12% of that whole 100% retail, at least here in the U.S. So I think that's what motivates us to keep looking and keep growing our inventory. And for me, for the past 3 years, I've been able to sell online. I was sharing with them with David. My first sale, I have it in a very nice frame, and I was just sharing with them my first sale. I bought something for $8, sold it for $37, and made a $16 profit. So it's a great feeling, and it also motivates you to just keep looking and keep growing your inventory every day. So it is great, and I'm gonna say welcome to a lot of people that is here already. We have about 22 people already here. So welcome, Skidog TV. Every day I'm hustling. That's a nice handle. That's a nice screen name. Jeff, welcome. The Mamba. Hello, Jan, Ido, Elizabeth, Elana. How are you guys? And just let us know if you have any questions. We can help you here. Today we have about 45 minutes to go over, any of your questions, and we want to help you start your business on doing arbitrage. That's our main expertise for Eric and myself, and so we want to help you with that. So let's see. Elizabeth says, do you recommend retail or online arbitrage? I recommend that if you're able to do both, I would recommend you do both. Why? One, because you can go to the stores and just do retail arbitrage and start scanning and browsing and going through that process and learning. But if you have access to both retail and online, you can find items online that you cannot find on the market or like a retail. But also doing retail, you're gonna find items that are specific for your store or your region or your city that nobody else has, and that's why sometimes it's very hard to say, tell somebody, if I'm in Georgia and I tell somebody, go to Walmart and buy this item. I found it in Walmart for $7, and then you're in Portland or you're in in California, and then you go down to your store and you cannot find it for that price. If you do retail arbitrage, you have access to certain products that are going to be only for your market. So I would recommend if you can do both. Now, if you're outside the U.S. or if you're in a place where you don't have access to retail stores, then 100% online arbitrage. But you're going to be able to find a lot of different things.
Yeah, I find that that the two really dovetail nicely. So there are times when what I'm doing with retail arbitrage really just kind of tucks in wonderfully alongside what did I say? If I'm doing retail arbitrage, it tucks in nicely with online arbitrage and vice versa. And I didn't catch everything Allan said, but part of the reason for that is I just think how you spend your time doing both is different. And so as I'm managing my day, there are certain times where it's just especially convenient for me to be at the computer and I'm working the online markets to find opportunities. And so that might be late at night, that might be early in the morning, it might be, when I have a short period of time between appointments in my office and I can just hop online for 30 minutes and check out something else. And then, if I got to run errands and my wife needs me to get milk and bread and do a couple other things, I can make a couple stops at retail stores, and now I'm continuing to move my business forward. And so there have been times where I can just manage my schedule and do both. And I think in arbitrage, you're constantly trying to create opportunities, discover opportunities. And if you have the chance to do both online and retail arbitrage, but for whatever reason, you're only doing one, now you've just limited yourself. You've limited all those opportunities that you could be discovering in the other one. And the more you do it, the more you want to find opportunities. You want to create opportunities. So if you can land that website that gets you some good opportunities, you got to be out there doing online arbitrage. And if you want to bump into the store that's just gone crazy on clearance for some reason, you've got to be out there doing retail arbitrage to find it. So I agree with Allan. I think there's a really sweet place where you can get both going at the same time. Edgar, I want to say hi. He says he's a new guy here, and we love having new folks around. So thank you for joining us. Let's see what other questions we got here. Loving it. Good to see you again. Loving it's been with us weekend after weekend. When do you send your winter gear to Amazon warehouses? So that's a seasonal question, and I think it's a good one. You kind of want to be thinking seasonally. If you land on kind of a jackpot clearance sale of flip-flops in September, just recognize that the market might look a little different for those in the fall and the winter. Although, parenthetically, you would be amazed at how many flip-flops you sell on Amazon in October, November, and December. So I don't think you want to be totally black and white with your seasons. So kind of with that parentheses, I think you can sell winter gear all summer long. It just amazes me. I do a lot with seasonal Christmas items, and I can't believe the kind of Christmas items that I'll sell in March and in July. And, certainly you sell way more of Christmas items in September, October, November, and you usually sell them at a higher price. And so there's an advantage to working the season. But you can sell stuff like that year round. To get to the real answer of the question, I think I would probably send in my winter gear like in August, maybe at the end of this month, but you could even send it in now. I mean, back to school is crazy, right? And you got mom who's buying a backpack and folders, and she's thinking about what's coming, and she might be buying winter coats too. And I think you want to be anticipating the season a little bit so that you don't miss it. But kind of the deeper you get into the season, sometimes the better the prices get. So that's where using something like Keepa and tracking price history can be helpful. And to be honest, in our Amazon Arbitrage Mastery membership, we do deep dives into all kinds of stuff like this. And so we're talking in depth about the cycles of seasons and how to look at past history using tools like Keepa. And so click on the link below, take a look at our Amazon Arbitrage Mastery membership, which is something that's pretty new. And we continue to offer it as a great opportunity to really do a deep dive into these different areas and figure out how you can be thinking about those kinds of things. Allan, let me throw the next question to you here. Let's see. Would you buy something that is 700 rank in a subcategory? Juan Pablo asks this, but it doesn't have top seller ranking number. So how do you go about thinking about subcategories, Allan?
I usually try to avoid subcategories. I want to see the general category, the main category, because even if it's a 700 rank in a subcategory, at the top level category, if it's too high for that category, it might not be a good deal or a good buy for you. So let me give you an example. A 700 rank in a subcategory for babies might sound really good, but if it's, let's say, on the top category is 15,000 or 25,000 for babies, that's a little bit too high for that category because the total amount of products for that category is very small. And 25,000 in shoes, it's a great number, a great rank. But for babies, it might be a little bit, it's gonna take a little longer to sell. So I always want to make sure that I can get the top category rank. And if I don't have that information, I'll just keep and kind of look for a new product or another product.
Yeah, I would agree with Allan. I do the same thing. I tend to just find the rankings in subcategories really unreliable. I think they can be tempting because the BSR looks so low. And one that I find to be common to present common misconceptions are like subcategories in electronics. And I don't know why that stands out to me, but I'm not saying the electronics category itself is a bad category to think about when it comes to BSR, but it seems like there's a prevalence of subcategories, and you'll scan stuff and get single digits and it just looks amazing. And I think that should be a little red flag. We don't want to be suspicious as though everything's too good to be true, because you can find really good deals out there. But I think that's a bit of an indicator. And so, yeah, our perspective is to just be really careful with something that's in a subcategory. I'd want to know what is it ranking in the larger category if I could find that.
Right.
Elizabeth, thanks for joining us. She asks, do you approach online arbitrage in the same way, looking for clearance items, for example? Yeah, absolutely. So, in retail arbitrage, you're primarily going after, at least in my experience, you're going after clearance sales. There's stores that I frequent and I know where the clearance sections are. I know where the clearance end caps are. And then there's certain like seasonal or special promotions where there's a real cut in prices. And so you're doing the same thing online. I would start by going to common websites and go right to the clearance button on those websites or the sale button. Some of them are kind of set up nice and you can sort all the sales items by % off. And so now it's bringing the items to the top of the list that have the deepest discount. And so it might start with 90% off items, and you got to wade through some garbage. When you do that, all kinds of kind of weird stuff comes to the top and you're like, no wonder that's 90% off. It's like a shoelace. But that kind of gives you a filter to bring the bigger discounts to the top. And then I think, in the same way with retail arbitrage, that when you do it long enough and get enough experience, you bump into some non-clearance items that still are really good to do arbitrage with. And the same is true with online searches. So now you're on websites and you're, one thing leads to another and you kind of find some deals that you can take advantage of, but they're not necessarily clearance deals. They're just the website runs the item at this price consistently. And for whatever reason, the Amazon marketplace is strong and the demand is high. And so you can gain quite a bit by selling it there. Let's keep moving here. Allan, I'll let you respond to David. David Murphy is just asking a little broader question. I just talked about some of this, but how do you find online arbitrage products? That's kind of what I just said, but let me ask you what you would add to that.
Well, for me, the main thing is at the beginning, you want to start going to a lot of different websites. The first thing I do is go to the clearance section or the sales section that they have, and then I'm going to start looking for products there. When I find something that has a very good discount, so for example, they will tell you this item original price was $29. Now we have it for $7. That's a good price. If you find something that the regular price is $35 and now they have it for $32, that's probably not a good enough discount. So you wanna start finding the ones that have the bigger discounts, 50, 70, 80% discount. That way, now that you have a product that is regular price $29, but they're selling it for $7, now you go to Amazon, you look for that product, and once you find it on Amazon, you see, okay, Amazon is still selling it for $29. I can get it for $7. Now let's analyze it, and I want to see the rank, I want to see the history, competition, all of that. But I don't go and just start looking for every single item on each store. I'm just trying to find the ones that have the deep discounts and then analyzing those on the website. That's the first step. Once you find, once you go through that, and you're probably going to find enough products every day if you do that. But if you don't find anything on the clearance section, then you can start going to the different categories and trying to see if you can find anything at a regular price where, in this store, the regular price is $20, but on Amazon it's still, it's a $50 or $60 price, and you'll find those items just at a regular price. Then you can start analyzing those. But for me, the first thing is just going to clearance sections and starting from there.
Yeah, the same thing works in retail arbitrage. I mean, really, they're parallel enterprises, just in different venues. But, the last thing I want to do when I'm in a Walmart clearance aisle is scan every single item that's there. And so, I think just for the sake of efficiency and time management, I'm applying some common sense, and I'm reading the tags the same way Allan just talked about. So, common sense would say to just kind of scan the stuff that I think might be successful, and you're not just scanning every little kind of goofy looking item.
Mm-hmm.
or if you see an item that's in the $15 section that in your mind clearly wouldn't be worth much more than $15. But also, I mean, you see that in retail stores all the time where it says was $29.95, now $4.95 or something like that. And that's just going to give you a great indicator that there's potential there. And so I think that's a way to just work efficiently, work quickly. I mean, when you're online looking for product, when you're in the store looking for product, it's time consuming. You're working hard to try to get opportunities, and you don't want to be taking extra time if you don't have to. So
can I give you a sample of an item that you can find on Walmart?
Sure, go for it.
Would that be helpful for the guys here today?
I'm sure it would be.
I'm just gonna do these steps right now. I'm gonna share my screen real quick. I just went to Walmart right now and I just typed mustard. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
So I just typed mustard and I just went here and I see that there's some of them at $1, $3, $7. So I chose this one. I picked this one right here. This one is a single pack is $2. A 2-pack is $5.48. Okay, and these are 24-ounce mustard. So if I go to Amazon and I just grab this whole title, I went here and I just pasted and I got this one right here. This one, a 2-pack is selling for $14, $14.99 2-pack. So now I know, okay, this one, it's a 24-ounce. This item, this is something that I can grab a couple of units, and if I come here, it's 800,000 on groceries. So now I start analyzing this product and trying to figure out if it's worth it or not. But this is basically all you have to do. Just kind of start going through Amazon or any store, looking for the products. If you see that a product is has a good price on at Walmart, you can just find it on Amazon, and then you analyze it. In this case, the rank is too high, but I just went and I just did it, in a couple of steps. That's basically what we want to do.
Allan, have you ever sold mustard on Amazon before?
Yes, sir. That's what I gave you that sample. I have sold ketchup, hot sauce, cereal, anything I can find where I find these items and the ranks are low enough.
There you go. I mean, the sky is the limit with the opportunities that you can find if you think creatively and search well. So yeah, I mean, on a very basic level, Allan's showing you that you find an item on one website, copy and paste the title into Amazon, and now you're looking to match the two listings, the listing you saw on that website. And you got to be careful doing that. Allan was careful to note that was a 2-pack, and sometimes there's different versions of a product or nuances and variations, and you need to be careful with all that. But that's really as basic as it gets. You're finding an item on one website and you're matching it up to Amazon. And again, fight the urge to be skeptical. I'm a skeptic, so I can relate to what it can feel like, but it can just seem like, why would that work? And why would anyone buy it from Amazon when they could go buy it at, website X? And part of the reason is people don't want to spend a ton of time looking for all these different websites and deals. And if it's part of your business to do that, you've got a leg up on them because you're willing to do it. And the more you do it, the more experience you get, the less of a real burden it is. Now you just, you know, and have a better idea of where to go. And so you're taking advantage of opportunities on other websites that are only there for maybe short periods of time. And, if I happen to find mustard at that price on that website, doesn't mean it's going to be there for that price in the future. And then if somebody wants to buy mustard a month from now, or a couple of weeks from now on Amazon. So, I mean, that's working all the time. If you're buying clearance items and you get them home and you send them into Amazon, somebody else who wants to buy them later can't necessarily find that same deal. And here's the other thing. It is a sweet opportunity to be able to take advantage of the Amazon marketplace and to be a part of Amazon because, I mean, be honest, all your friends and your family, the people you know, shop on Amazon. The number of people that have a Prime Amazon account is astronomical, and they trust Amazon. They have a special relationship with Amazon. They know they can get 1-day Prime shipping. They know that if they need to return the product, that they can do it hassle-free. In fact, they can even take the returns to the UPS store or Kohl's now and not even package it up. They've maybe even got an Amazon Prime charge card, and they're getting their 5% on their purchases and stuff. I mean, people are just going to Amazon and they're buying, and our economy is doing.
Convenient.
What's that?
It's very convenient for everybody.
That's right. Yeah, and so we're taking advantage of that, and we're just getting in on the opportunity. And Amazon FBA is allowing us as third-party sellers, and it's allowing you. What you can do is send your stuff to Amazon via Amazon FBA, Fulfillment by Amazon, and they will warehouse it. They'll pick it off the shelf and pack it and ship it and do all that work for you. And then their Prime offerings and their returns and their customer service, all the things that people value about Amazon, are eligible for your products. So everything that I send to Amazon FBA gets special treatment in that regard. And it's a great way to scale your business and make money.
Yep. Let's see if you can read the next one, man.
Do I even want to try? ¿Qué onda, Alan? Soy yo, Jose de San Antonio. Yeah, sorry. It's terrible.
What's up, Jose? Jose, actually, if you guys wanna meet Jose, go to this channel and go to one of the videos that Seth did a few weeks ago, and he actually interviewed Jose on the channel, so you can meet him. And he's got a great business, a great restaurant business, aside from his Amazon business. So yeah, you can meet him there. And he's asking, can I piece lots boxes together and tape them for oversized items? I have done it before. I remember we only sold a few of them, but we found a very big item. It was a car seat for babies, and we wanted to send it. Well, at first I didn't know that I could just send it with the regular box, but I wanted to put it on two boxes. So I end up putting one half of the product on one box and then cover it with another box and just tape it and send it. But I don't like to do that a lot because Amazon it requires certain size and weight, and then if you go over that, they charge you pretty high amount. So one thing that I do when I have a very heavy item or a very, very big item, I will just try to sell it as an FBM or fulfilled by merchant. And then if I sell it, then I send it straight to the customer. That way I have sold a lot of different items. I just sold about 30 or 40 items from Walmart that they were big items. And we just sold all of them through FBM. So, we sold the item, and then we just send the product straight to the customer. Have you had any experience with this, Eric?
Yeah, not too long ago, I found a store that had Keurig coffee makers, and they were a very unique style and color. And I think I bought 40 or 50 of them because the BSR was extremely low. The ROI was really strong. And one of the cool things about these coffee makers, because I inquired about them, they had them all in the back. I found a couple out front, but they had the majority of them in the back, and they were still in the manufacturers packing the brown box. In other words, you could open up the brown box and then pull out the box that was the actual item. So what I did is I took all of those home and I just slid open the bottom of the brown box. I put my FN SKU over the UPC code, and then I taped that box up, and then they were 13 pounds each. So I took 3 of them and put them together next to each other side by side, because then it was 39 pounds. You can't send in a box that's over 50 pounds. So if I put 4 of them together, I was at 52 pounds. But I put 3 together, and then I just taped all around this way and taped around this way. In fact, my dad, who has been on the program before, was in Vermont at the time, and he and I just went crazy with the tape. The kids were taping and moving boxes, and it was a sunny day, and we did like all 40 of these in the driveway, 3 at a time, and then weighed them at 39 pounds and the sizes and shipped them off. And, you know, the nice thing about doing what Jose's talking about, I've done it with ceiling fans too, Alan. I sent in a couple ceiling fans, and, you know, I didn't want to just slap my Amazon label on the ceiling fan box and ship it off. I wanted it to be protected so it looked good when the customer got it, but I could kind of gum together, you know, I could cut boxes in half and tape those all together around the 2 ceiling fans. And if those looked really goofy, that they were just the instrument to get it to an Amazon fulfillment center. And so if I used a lot of tape and kind of did the hillbilly effort at putting all this together to get the 2 fans to Amazon, I didn't really worry about that, because I knew when Amazon received it, they were just going to get rid of that. And then the ceiling fans would remain intact, look good. They had the FN SKU on them, and then Amazon would process it accordingly. So I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that. And if you want to take advantage of FBA, which I wanted to do with these Keurigs, they were flying and had a lot of FBA sellers. Then that's kind of the way you got to do it.
Yeah.
What else we got here? I'm trying to understand Ali's question about a prep center. And later in the chat, Ali says, sorry, not take arbitrage. There are prep centers for sure that will take your arbitrage items both online and retail. So I don't know if that's part of what the question entails, but I've used a prep center, and that prep center will take any of my online items that I have shipped directly to the prep center. So all a prep center is it's an intermediary service that takes the items that you purchased and prepares them for Amazon FBA, and then sends them into a fulfillment center so you don't have to do that work. And so you pay a business a small per item fee, and they will receive your items. They'll clean off all the clearance decals if they're on the item. If it's an item that requires poly bagging or bubble wrap or something like that, then the prep center does that. Everything that's needed to prepare your items to go for sale, they print and put on the FN SKU labels, and then they box and ship the items for you. It's a great service. We have a lot of members in our Amazon Arbitrage Mastery membership that live outside of the US, but they use Amazon.com as their selling platform. And so they purchase items from .com websites, have them shipped to prep centers, and then the prep centers do the work and put them into Amazon fulfillment centers. And the member of our program is being coached at how to do all this. And he or she sits outside of the whole process, really, other than making purchasing decisions and then decisions with how to price the items and have them sell on Amazon.
Right.
So that's what a prep center is. And a lot of the ones that you can use will take either online orders that you have shipped there, or you can, you could go and do retail arbitrage and have part of your path end up at the prep center and just unload all your stuff right there at the prep center, and they will take them and process them. The prep center I use certainly doesn't require me to have over 100 units. But maybe there's prep centers.
Some of them will require you a certain amount minimum every month, because they're used to dealing with very high volume sellers. So if they get new people that are only sending 20-25 units a week, or a month, because of the amount of the fee that they charge, they need to make sure that people are sending enough units for them to make sense, offering that service. But some of them are going to charge you $1 to $1.25. So if you send, if all you send in the whole month is 25 or 50 units, they're making only $50 out of your account, and they need to make more money on the account, on each account, so it's worth them going through that process. So I know a few of them will have minimum requirements. A lot of them they don't really have. And if you're gonna be building your business, you might start with 25 units a week, but you might grow to 200, 300, 400 units a week. So a lot of people, they know that even if you're starting low, the potential to eventually have a good amount of items every week, it's good. So some of the prep centers, they don't mind having a low quantity.
Yeah, and when you're looking for a prep center, you want to find a prep center that fits who you are as a seller and what stage of business you're in, and whatever kind of your needs are. And so there's enough prep centers out there. In fact, if you look at the description below our video, we give you a list of 72 prep centers in the U.S. And some will have these stipulations, others won't. Some will charge more money, some will charge less money. Some are located in tax exempt states, like Oregon, for example. And now there you're getting a tax advantage, because any online arbitrage item that you purchase and have shipped to that location, you're not going to pay tax on. And it could be that they charge a little bit more as a result, but you're weighing all those factors. And we would recommend that you pick multiple prep centers and have conversations with the people that work at those. The prep center I use, I called and talked to the owner. I talked to the person who works the floor. They were super personable. Part of the reason I went with this prep center is they just were really responsive to me. And they addressed my concerns. They answered my questions. And I thought, man, I know that as I go through the process, if this is the kind of person I'm working with, then we can work through any mistakes or hiccups. And that's proven to be true. So find a prep center that fits for you. If one says you have to have 100 items and you're just not there yet, find a different one. That's fine. Elizabeth is asking if you can scale an arbitrage business, or are you limited, just finding a handful of each item? So the answer is definitely yes, you can scale your arbitrage business. Alan and I have both done that. Alan, what have you seen as some of the good ways you've been able to scale arbitrage?
Well, once you start focusing on online arbitrage, you can definitely scale that part, especially if usually when in my business, when we focus on online arbitrage is when we're traveling or we're out of the States, because we usually go a few months out of the States for back home to Guatemala. So when we're there, we're usually just doing 100% arbitrage. So that's when we see an increase on our online arbitrage sales. But we have members on the community that are doing 100% arbitrage and doing $20,000, $25,000, $40,000 a month just by doing online arbitrage. So if you focus on that, and that's your only model, the only model that you can do if you're outside the US, definitely you can scale to $40,000, $50,000 a month.
Yeah. One other thing I have in mind is some Amazon sellers use virtual assistants, and they can really be an advantage to helping you scale your business. In fact, we just are in the works of creating bonus content on our membership that goes through all the details of what a virtual assistant is, what role they can play in your Amazon business, how they can serve your business well, and how you compensate them, all the details about that. Again, the Amazon Arbitrage Mastery membership that we've created has loads of bonus material. And one of the bonus materials that we're excited about is it just goes into all the details about a VA. And a virtual assistant, without going into all those details, we don't have the time, can really do a lot of work to help you scale your business at a really decent price. It's a limited investment that can really increase and scale your business. And so there are a lot of ways to do that with arbitrage. And you're at work trying to create opportunities. And sometimes that means working harder, getting out there and pounding the pavement. And sometimes it means working smarter and thinking about ways that others can help you, or you can just increase. One thing I've done recently to try to scale in a small way is to just buy a few more of the products that have a really good ROI. So we always recommend that you view arbitrage as something where you don't go deep, but you go wide. So you're trying to find a lot of different items, and you're not really coming at it with a wholesale approach where you're going to buy like 500 of this item. Instead, you're just going to buy a few. And I see Loving It's asking, you mentioned your strategy is to buy 2 to 3 items of one product only. How do you avoid the temptation of buying a bunch of the same items, especially when they're on clearance? Alan and I laugh at each other because he and I have different perspectives on this. If I see, so Loving It, here's an example. If I see a really good deal on a clearance item, I usually buy everything that's there. So like with those Keurig coffee makers, they had They had, I can't remember how many it was, 50 or so of them. And I just bought them all. And I made like 3 trips with a minivan, and suddenly they were in my garage. I did it one time at Kmart with these scooters. I bought so many scooters, it took me like 5 shopping carts to haul the thing out. But, you know, I do them with specific purchases that I have a level of confidence regarding. So there's something about the BSR or the size of the margin that gives me an indication of that. So I'm not afraid to buy 20 or 30 or more of an item. You know, one, I have a garage, and I know I have a corner that I can stick stuff in. As long as I don't go crazy, I can manage that storage idea. But if the BSR is like 10,000 in toys and games, and you do some keep a history, and the price that you can get them at is really consistent, like, you just have the potential of selling a massive amount of this item. Or there have been times, and I have one of the items here, if we have time, I can share it. But, you know, there's times when my ROI is like 250%. And it's not because the selling price is inflated. It's just because I've landed a really good deal. And so I'm sorry, if there's 15 of them there and my ROI is 250%, I can't buy 5. I just can't do it. But Allan, you know, weigh in, and what's your perspective on that?
I stick to 1 or 2 units, and sometimes I kick myself because, you know, I know I could have bought more. I was just taking a look at my inventory, because sometimes I buy 5, and that's kind of like, oh my God, I'm risking a lot for my personal business. But most of the time, if I can show you my inventory, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's kind of like my inventory stock for everything. But I do have a lot of items, so that makes up for a lot of the sales. And I know that if I'm, you know, the way that I like to think is, I'm not the only one looking for these items, and I'm not gonna be the only one that finds this, you know, these prices and these deals. So if I have to share a product with a lot of people, I'm gonna try not to risk, you know, having 50 units of that product, because, you know, maybe when I'm analyzing, and that happened to us. I'm gonna look for the graphic, and I'm gonna show it to you. But that happened to us a few weeks ago. We went and there was a big special for shoes a few weeks ago. It was July, mid-July, and when we were analyzing products, there were 4, 5, 6 different sellers at $100, $70 to $100 price point. And today there's over 70 sellers, and the price went from $70 to $30. Everybody just got in, a lot of new people, and they just drove the price down. And for me, that's normal, but I know that's gonna happen. That could happen with any product. So that's why I always try to do 2, 3. And if I sell those fast, and I'm able to go back and find more, then I'll do it. And sometimes we end up finding, and I've told you guys before that we've ended up selling one item over 100 units or over 200 units. But I start with 5 or 3, then I go to 5, then I go to another 5. So I buy in small quantities. But I'm not risking a lot of my inventory just because I found a lot of them, even if it's a good price. But I do want to have a lot of different items, and that's the way I've been doing it for a long time. And I know you can buy 40, 50 if the margin is there. I just feel like I can do a lot more with going over and kind of going wider on my inventory.
Yeah, and there are times when I've kicked myself because I've said, okay, now I have 20 of these. And I think there was an instance where I was ungated. I bought 20 of a product, and somewhere between the time I bought it and when I went to send them in FBA, I became restricted to sell it, and I couldn't get ungated. And so now I had 20 of this item. And so we've both had opportunities to kick ourselves, but what you see is you've got to develop your own conviction, your own comfort level. we certainly would encourage you in the beginning to just buy smaller quantities. I certainly did that when I started, and I'm still cautious and calculated if I ever make a purchase of more than like 5 of an item. So I'm willing to do it, but I'm going to be real careful. Let me share my screen and show you this item, Alan, and tell me if you could resist buying all of this one. I got to figure out how to share my screen here, right here. So this is a special tool called a bionic grip, and it's a 6-inch bionic grip. And if you can see this well, it's selling for $26.99. And check out the sales rank, $83,756 in tools and home improvement. And I could buy these, Alan, for $6.49. So here's a nice thing about Rev Sellers. It does that little FBA calculation for you right there. And so my ROI on this item is 203%.
Yeah.
So if there were 12 of these on the shelf, how many would you buy, Alan?
I bought 3 of them.
Well, I bought 12.
I know. You bought all of them.
I did. So you're just seeing a different perspective, and that's fine. And what Alan does works for him. And there's times where he's like, maybe I could have sold 12 of those. And then what I do works for me. And there's times where I'm like, now I have 12 bionic grip wrenches. What in God's name am I going to do with all of those? And sometimes I can sell stuff on eBay or Craigslist if I'm in a pickle. But I've gotten stuck with plenty of stuff too that then we give to family members as birthday presents. But that's another issue. But let me step back for a second while the screen share is still here and just say, every week we do these Q&As, I get blowback from people that say arbitrage is dead. It doesn't work. Eric, you talk about trying to get an ROI of 100% or better, and that's just hogwash. You can't do that. And I just want you to know, so this wrench, I found 12 of this wrench. It was at a store within 15 miles of my home. I paid $6.49 a piece for them. And I'm making over 200% ROI on these. And the BSR is fantastic. Yeah. And by the way, there were 4 different styles of this wrench. So there was not only a 6-inch, but an 8-inch. And then there was a different version that had a 6-inch and an 8-inch. And so all said, I bought a whole bunch of these, and every single version had a really good BSR, and the margin was the same. And so I want our viewers to be convinced that there are great opportunities like this out there. They abound. You've got to find them. And so if you spend just a couple days looking and you kind of get frustrated because you didn't land on one, my encouragement to you is to just play the long game and work hard at finding those opportunities because they exist. They're out there.
Sure. Are you ready to see a painful graphic from Kiva?
Sure. Show us what you got.
Let me share my screen. When we saw this a few days ago, we were so upset. We were almost crying, man, because we analyzed this product. We bought it and I think we bought it July 16 or 17, right about here. And you can see there were about 8 sellers.
And look at that sales rank. Those numbers are great.
Sales rank was awesome. For that price and everything. I think we bought this for like $32, so we had a very good profit margin right there. And then somebody in July 23rd, you can see it went to 10 sellers, and then everybody started fighting for the price. It went up to close to 80 sellers, I think, at the peak of 74, 75 sellers. The price just went down to the lowest one was $45. Right now it's at $49, and there's a lot of sellers that are there's some sellers that are getting out of stock, but I'm stuck here at of course with my 2 units at I need to sell at $70. Otherwise it doesn't make sense for me. But when we saw this, it was like, okay, we can see that there's a lot of new sellers right here because they just drove the price from 70 to 45 in 3 days. No, in
That's amazing. I've never seen one quite that dramatic. Now, what I would do is leave my price at $70. Is that what you've done?
Yes. We're not gonna go. We have. I like to have my minimum is a 40% ROI. So the minimum I'm willing to sell this is around here, like $62, $63. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense for me. But you can see this. This is why, if I have 40 units of this and they drive the price and it takes, let's say, a month to recover to go back to $70, I'm gonna be stuck with 40 items or however many units I bought. But in this case, I know I can handle the wait and just wait for a few weeks or even a few months for this to recover, because there's 70 people stuck with low pricing, and it's just a very hard graphic to and when you find items that are like these all the time, like you're finding items that are always in special, and there's a lot of people having access to these special stores or these special prices. You know that there's going to be competition, and there's a lot of people that might just drive the price down. So it's a nice item if it goes back to the regular price, but I might spend a few weeks or maybe a month and a half or 2 months here just in the waiting period.
Yeah, what I noticed with that graph is that it was around like August 2nd, August 3rd. It looked like it reached a peak of number of sellers around 65 or 70, and then it was starting to go back down, which tells me like sellers who bought a couple are going to sell out, and you're going to probably see that graph is going to go back down. So there's going to be 60 sellers and then 50 sellers and 40 sellers. And as that goes down, your price is going to go back up. It's just a matter of how long you have to wait before it recovers.
Right. So if I have 3 units, waiting for that product to recover, I'm okay with it. Because I have other products that are, selling. And it's very nice to see when you have a graph where you have 20 sellers and everybody's at the high price and everybody's just, playing with the, along with the regular price. It's very nice because, there's a lot of seasoned sellers and people that are not just looking for a sale, but they want to make a sale and get profit out of it.
Yeah, that's right. And that's why we never recommend undercutting the price. We always match the lowest buy box price, sometimes go a penny above the buy box price. You're still going to win the buy box. You're going to compete. You're going to make sales. You're going to make money. It's sellers that try to undercut that just kill the market. And I don't really understand why they do it, but they do it. And there's ways to protect yourself. By the way, this is just a great use of a Keepa graph. So what Allan's looking at, or what he looked at a minute ago, was a Chrome extension from Keepa that is embedded right in the Amazon listing, so he can see all that data, and it's really helpful for doing product research. And again, just by way of reminder, our Amazon Arbitrage Mastery membership, we have a whole bonus section of videos that does a deep dive on Keepa. We talk at length about how to use tools like this. It's a membership worth looking into. So click the link below, take a look at the membership. We are at 2:00 and we've had a good time. Thanks for being with us, folks. We're going to be back next Saturday on the 17th, noon Central Standard Time. We will be answering your arbitrage questions, talking about arbitrage. I'm convinced it's very much alive. It's been that way in my experience for 5 years. It's been steady. The opportunities have always been available. And as I see Amazon grow and as my experience grows, my margin grows. And it's fun to achieve goals and to set new goals and then achieve those and to keep going. And from the bottom of our hearts, that's what we desire for you. We sincerely would love for you to be able to develop margin in your budget so that the things that you dream about doing, you can do. And you can take the people you love with you. So whether it's traveling or making the purchase that you want to make, or just experiencing freedom from what feels like an enslaving schedule, these are things that can be yours and we want to hold them forth to you. And selling on Amazon is not a silver bullet. There's nothing about arbitrage that is a quick flip or an easy path to making a ton of money without any effort. That's just not the case, and we never pretend that it is. It's hard work. There are a ton of obstacles, and that's why we advocate that you join our membership, because one of maybe the most important part of being a Just One Dime member is you have a community of people around you that are facing the same obstacles, that can give you emotional support, that can help you troubleshoot stuff that comes up. And we've got coaches and members that are really good at jumping in and helping one another. So check out the link below, type in questions and comments below, and I try to log in and interact with you guys. And so if you're watching this by way of recording, and you found this video on Seth's YouTube channel, enter in comments below, like it below, and I'll be quick to interact with you. Allan, thanks for joining me for this time. I really appreciate it.
Awesome, man. Thank you for having me, and I hope that you guys are learning, and I hope that you guys are taking action, which is the most important thing. And just let us know if we can help you and go with you throughout this journey. We're here, the community is there, and we're here to help you.
All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you next week. Take care.
Bye, guys.